So, my fellow Linux users, ask not what your operating system can do for you. Ask what you can do for your operating system. My fellow citizens of the internet, ask not what Linux can do for you, but together what we can do for the freedom from Windows. Finally, whether you are users of Linux or users of anything else, ask of us here the same courage to build a freer, better digital world which we ask of you. Because PewDiePie has installed Linux. And he thinks every single one of y'all should install Linux. And if you're going to say, hey, you're on Windows, though, guys, I have a Windows PC here and a Linux PC there. I probably should be recording this on my Linux PC, but I'm not. Look, I can prove NixOS. See, I'm coding on Linux again. My NixOS dual PC setup because Windows, Linux. I'm only halfway a poser. But I've never done one of these reacting to a video, pieces of content. But I haven't watched this video, and I'm very curious to see PewDiePie's take on Linux.
Oh, you little guy.
Oh. Yeah, I forgot I had a meeting, and I wasn't able to watch this video yesterday. But I mean, is it really a Farce Night video if there's not at least one wardrobe change in it? I don't really think so. So let's get to watching this video. And one of the reasons why I did make this video is because I think watching these are fun, and I want to watch them with other people, and I feel like this is a way for me to watch it with other people, even though I'm not streaming, but you know. All right, let's give it a go.
Oh, look at yourself. Who did this to you? Was it Windows? Oh,
it was Windows.
Mac OS? Oh.
Haven't used Mac OS in 10 years. I heard it's been on a bit of a skid lately, but I will agree that Mac OS, just as a development environment, is nicer to use in Windows. But with WSL on Windows, it makes it so you don't even really have to touch much of Windows when you're in WSL coding and stuff. And you can open up all of your code editors via WSL and you're good to go. The only thing is when you have to -- tunnel out or set up nested virtualization or do a handful of other things within WSL to make it work with the Windows operating system that it's running inside of. But that's neither here nor there.
Don't worry. I can save you. Install Linux.
Yes!
What if I told you can look like this? Anyway, let me start this off by saying I am not a tech guy. You saw my PC
Yes, you are,
building
PewDiePie.
video.
Listen. Okay.
I'm surprised the whole
Maybe not. Did he bend the CPU pins? I didn't watch that video. What did he bend? Did he bend the slot that you insert the GPU into? I remember one time I ripped my GPU out of my computer. I thought I had unlatched it, and it ripped out the entire just piece that is set onto the pins, bent all of the pins. So then I had to use the other slot, which is less good than the top slot for my GPU from there on out. I've since rebuilt and have a custom water cooling loop and all this cool fancy stuff in a Titan RTX and a 4090 sitting in a box back there that I really need to utilize, but I haven't yet. But yeah, PC building.
The thing hasn't exploded. It's like sitting next to a bomb every day. But what you did see was 0.5
a bomb that sounds like a freaking rocket taking off at times.
seconds of the video where I installed Linux on the thing, and a lot of people just went, what? What?
What?
Some
what kind of
people
Linux?
seem surprised and
Linux. PewDiePie using Linux was not on my bingo card. If I had to guess, he's using Linux Mint because that is going to be the most similar to Windows.
Something
Cinnamon, particularly.
Linux on it.
some people were excited.
Linux Mint. One day he'll try Arch and then like really find the way, but Linux Mint, that is the move if you're going directly from Windows to Linux, which I laid out in this video, the best Linux distro for you, because I tried to take in every single edge case and type of computer user and find or offer you the best Linux distro based on, well, you. And a lot of people liked it. And then, well, this is just some other videos that I've made on Linux. And down here it says, welcome to the Linux community. Glad to see that Linux gotten to the point that big YouTubers, this and that, love to see how far open source came. All of these are real positive. Just wait I mean, it's already been 2 days since this video is uploaded. I bet there are so many forums of just the nose up pretentious Linux users saying, this guy, and he's bringing over all of his fans, and we don't want you, even though you want more people for free and open source software in order to make it better. But there are those bad eggs in the Linux community, just like any community, but the Linux community, they just don't, those bad eggs don't really know how to properly talk to humans. So they're on their computer all the time and just rant and raving about things that they dislike. Or trying to find things that they dislike, in all honesty.
At the time, I didn't know the power that I had. I was like a baby with a rocket launcher. For years, yes. I have been tortured by Windows.
Tortured by Windows on an Apple phone.
Oh. But now, alas, I am finally free. I escaped the Windows cave. I saw the sun. Enough reference. Okay, so I'm gonna yap about Linux for as long as this video is, and you're gonna listen. I want to start off...
And I'm going to yap about what he yaps about, and y'all are going to listen.
By going through the reasons why I switched to Linux. It's different for everybody. Number one is how backlit this shot is.
What is number one? Is number one because he's fed up with Microsoft? Is it because he just wants ultimate control and not freaking ads on, oh, I accidentally clicked on this when I don't ever want to click on this. And look, ads. And then, oh no, let me, well, I guess the portfolio ain't too bad today. These aren't all my holdings, but it's just like the overall market. I mean, you have some. Oh, the market hasn't even started yet. That's why. Okay. Yeah, ads and all this other random nonsense, all this news are not things that I want to see when I accidentally click on the weather.
Number one, Windows talks to me like I'm a baby. Now, mentally, I might be, but that does not warrant.
Same.
You want Candy Crush? You want Candy Crush on your computer? You want to use Bing? Yes.
Nobody wants to use Bing. But every single time you type in something right here, when you're looking for a file, just to be clear, you're never searching for something on the internet when you type something in here. You're searching on your computer. But if it's not on your computer, it's like, oh, do you want to search it on Bing? It's like, no, I don't want to search anything on Bing, let alone something that I'm typing into my taskbar to see if it exists on my computer. Imagine if grep or something curled every single time, or wgetted every single time you tried to search something for some crap on the internet. But yeah, a second ago I just saw a bunch of games show up right here, so I don't know where they went. I'm not complaining, but
Linux, on the other hand, literally puts a gun in your hand and says,
yeah, yes.
My first sort of...
You can shoot yourself in the foot with that gun. That's also the beauty of Linux.
Aha, moment when I installed Linux or started using it was, wait a minute, it does exactly what I want it to do. And there's just a really powerful feeling about that.
And exactly what you tell it to do. Whether you tell it something wrong or not, you told it to do it, and it's going to do it.
I want to show you guys my setup as well. I will get into that. But first, reason number two. Windows is like, I know you paid $100 or whatever for me, but I'm still going to put ads in here. Yes.
No.
Put a little AI in here.
Yeah, we will talk about the AI, but you do not need to pay for a Windows key. One, you can get the operating system for free, but you need to activate it with the Windows key, right? Just open up the back of an old laptop that you do not use. I don't care what version of Windows it was. At least when I have ever done this, it's worked. The key is going to be right there. Your Windows key is going to be right there inside your laptop. Take that, put in your new PC build. If you're going to use Windows, that's what you do. You don't pay $100 for it. You just take an old key that is no longer in use and use it. And when it comes to the AI, isn't this supposed to be taking snapshots of your screen every 10 seconds and sending it off somewhere? I don't think people want that too much. That's Windows 11. I'm still on Windows 10. Isn't it going to try to force me to upgrade to Windows 11? That may be the time I jump ship.
You want that, right? That doesn't benefit me. It's for you, the consumer. Bing! It doesn't benefit me that you use Bing, but please use Bing.
Oh, but I'm so scared. I'm so scared because Yahoo wants to buy Chrome. Why would Google sell Chrome? Because supposedly monopolistic, and the DOJ has, among other proposals, requested judge break up Google by requiring it sell its Chrome browser. And if Yahoo are the folks who are going to buy it, you know that it's going to get ran into the ground. That's an issue because Chrome, as you can see, is what I use.
I've used Firefox. They had that whole privacy debacle, even though Chrome is not like it's private with your information at all. It's Google, for crying out loud. But Firefox I've had other issues with. Brave I've had other issues with, even though I really like Brave. What do you want me to use? Tor? People thinking I'm going on the dark web. You want me to use that Opera, whatever? That actually looks pretty cool. I haven't given it a shot. But are there any, like Arc, Zen, this, that? There are so many browsers out there that I've only heard issues or experienced issues with every single one of them, except for Chrome has really been the one that has been the best for me. And if Yahoo buys Chrome, what the heck am I going to use? Bing? We going back to Internet Explorer instead? It's a little scary, honestly, in the whole web browser times of today.
Microsoft is an annoying Swede, apparently. With Linux, nothing. Serenity. Peace.
Serenity. Unless you're in Linux Mint Cinnamon, doesn't that come with a bunch of stuff installed? You can easily uninstall it, whereas Windows, you have to go through like 1,000 different things in order to find the application and then right-click uninstall, and then it'll open up this thing over here, and then you will actually uninstall it, and then it's a whole thing.
Don't even get me started on the Windows taskbar. You control what's on your computer.
Yes.
Duh. It's obvious. How is this not a thing?
No, you don't.
Reason number 3, customization. I discovered this afterwards. Customizing on Linux is a beautiful thing. On Linux, you can change reality itself. Since
Yes, you
Linux is
can.
built modular, you can swap out your GUI entirely. You don't even have to use one. You can cut out.
Okay. Now, I don't want to be the pretentious nose-up guy, but did he just call a GUI a GUI? I've never heard anybody say that. I will sometimes say SQL for the laughs because I used to call it that all the time instead of SQL or whatever, but the acronym GUI, I've never heard anybody say it. But I will say, if you do want a little bit more customization on Windows, Power Toys. This is what you want. Power Toys, there are a lot of different types of customizations you can do. Measure pixels on your screen, a lot of tools you can use. This is probably my favorite, Fancy Zones. So I can come over here, launch a layout editor, and as you can see, I can have this be the main split layout right here. There's, what do I have? This is what I have over here on my stacked monitor, just because I normally use this. This basically never gets used. And I'm able to have something that looks a little bit more like a tiling manager-esque. So like, you know, I come over here, I right click, let go, I have this here, and I come over here, right click, it freezes. That did not just happen. What a great example for Windows, in all honesty. All right, there we go. So now I can have this. You have a little bit of that buffer instead of like the typical, just throw that off to the side. And then I have to kind of do it funny because this is freezing again. I mean, to be fair, I do have a lot of things open, but I have a pretty beefy computer and this should not be happening. So you could do this always, but I just like to have that little bit of buffer zone. I can customize it however I want. Good to go, kind of, except when it freezes.
Cut off the head of Linux and it'll still be like, hey, I'm here, what's up? Customizing.
Also, we're 17 minutes into this video. I probably edited some stuff out, but and only 3 minutes into that video. Maybe this is a longer video than I
Linux
thought.
is called Rising, and I got way too into it.
Way too into Rising. Doesn't he live in Japan? And isn't Rising a term derived from modifying Japanese cars? The term ricer became popular in the 90s and 2000s because of the rivalry between American muscle cars and Japanese performance cars. The ricer car refers to a Japanese car which has had so many external modifications done to it that it looks ridiculous. Oh, so it's an insult? I don't think it's an insult. Or maybe it started off as an insult. Rice originally started off as an insult. All right then.
I cooked hard. I can't wait to show you guys. Now, reason number 4. Gaming. Gaming on Linux is finally real. I actually installed Linux 15 years
Steam
ago.
Deck.
That's right, I'm old. And I uninstalled it after like a couple days, as a lot of people do, when they realize, oh, I can't use the things I need on Linux. And
see, that is the issue. Is like earlier in this video, he's like, oh, you do whatever you want. Your computer does whatever you tell it to do. Isn't that how it should be? Except for play games. Until recently. Because didn't Valve with Steam Deck make it so? What a beautiful contribution to open source software, I must say.
and for me, that was gaming back then, because it's like, well, then what's the point? But now,
That's the only reason I use computers.
Valve as a company recognized maybe Microsoft has a bit too much power If they wanted to and started being shady, locking things down, taking cuts, they absolutely could. And it's not like it would be uncharacteristics for them to do. So Valve started improving.
No, it would not be uncharacteristic for Windows to do. For the record, you know how Windows is all like pro open source. We love open source. Look, we own GitHub now. Look how pro open source we are. This is a video. You don't have to watch this video. Read the Halloween documents or watch this video. I go through all of the documents and just learn about how Microsoft was attempting to kill Linux because they found it a threat to their business model.
Linux boosted driver support, and they built on what was already there from open source software like Wine. By doing this, Valve benefits, consumer benefits, ecosystem grows, win, win, win. It really
win. And he said win, win, win. Plus you get to stick it to Microsoft, which is another win, even though we're all trapped into everything Microsoft with Windows and GitHub and VS Code and TypeScript. If y'all forgot that Windows, it kind of controls that, owns that. And well, a lot more than just that and a lot of other things that you don't even realize Microsoft owns.
Feels like an alternate reality. This totally could not have been a thing. And it also makes me realize just how many things can be better if people just weren't so greedy. Can we just fix them? Now I've gone through the reasons why I switched to Linux. Let me just explain why maybe not switching is a good idea. Because everything good comes with a sacrifice. If you're swapping to Linux, you'll likely have to give something up. I don't know what that is.
Yes.
But for me, it was Photoshop. I used Photoshop, again, for 15 years. All the shortcuts, all my workflow, it's all baked into my brain. The way I use Photoshop, I don't think about it. It's just, here's the thumbnail.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's my... If y'all watch my video, this one here, I just knew I'd be referencing these videos, so I have them all open over here. I'm coding on Linux again, my NixOS dual PC setup. The reason why I have a dual PC setup, or even why I used to dual boot Windows with NixOS or Arch or run Ubuntu on a virtual machine, is because I needed Windows, because I needed Adobe, because I was locked in and everything that I did was mostly second nature at this point, and all of my keybinds are a certain way and my flow through is a certain way, and I didn't really feel like taking weeks or months to get into the groove of DaVinci Resolve and GIMP, and which maybe I don't need GIMP. Maybe I could use like Canva or something like that to do all that stuff, or Figma. If they stop suing people, maybe I'll use Figma, because we like the term dev mode around here, and I don't think Figma has a right to dev mode. But I didn't want to take all that time to relearn everything. That's also why I've been pushing off Vim Motions and NeoVim in favor of Windsurf, and then I'm going to try out Zed here soon. But that's really the main reason why I've always needed Windows, as well as for gaming. But if Steam Deck solves that issue, then it's only my Adobe products, which maybe one day I'll get away from, just not yet.
It's not beautiful, but I get the job done. Unfortunately, Adobe is a garbage company, and their software just won't run on Linux. A lot of artists are jumping ship. They don't want to use Adobe anymore because they realize it's a terrible company. Me as well, I thought, you know what? It's time. I'll swap over. I know the open source alternative is GIMP. I've heard about this forever, and I thought, it'll feel good. I'll feel good leaving Adobe. So I'm ready. I go to their website, I click through this.
Would it feel good to leave Adobe? It really would. I've actually worked with Adobe in the past, had good experiences with them. When I say the past, I mean like 7 years ago. With Adobe XD, where I would make mockups and wireframes and whatnot, and I've always used Adobe. And pro tip, when it comes to Adobe, threaten to cancel it. Go through the cancellation process if you're on the Creative Cloud at least, because this is what I've been doing literally forever, ever since I was no longer a student and couldn't apply for the student discount. I would go to cancel it, and it's what, $50 or $60 a month for the entire Creative Cloud, and I use like 4 or 5 of the apps all the time. It'll say, oh, stay around for 3 months for free, and then you can do that. But also right next to that, it says you can actually get it for the next year for $29.99 a month. And I literally just do that every single year, set an alarm on my phone for 12 months from now, tell me, once my year ends, I go to cancel it, and it gives me the same deal. Pro tip.
1,000 pages. I crawl through the bushes just to find the goddamn unsubscribe button, and I was so ready. I was gonna be like, you unsubscribe.
Yes.
You know what happens?
Yes.
You know what happens?
Don't
They
tell me you
hit
got
me with
charged.
an unsubscription fee.
Oh, I
Yes.
saw this happen the other day to somebody. But I will say, not to defend Adobe, but if he was on the annual plan and getting a discount because he was on the annual plan, the whole entire idea of the discount is that they have you for a year. So it does kind of make sense, don't attack me now, to charge back the savings that you got for the annual plan when you don't stay for the entire year. Maybe that's what happened. I don't exactly know.
I'm sorry, what? I have to pay to
you.
not use your software. It was like 65 bucks or something. It's insane.
That would piss me off.
What the If anything, it just made me realize, okay, it's over.
Making the right decision.
I'm never going back. So like I said, the open source alternative is GIMP. And since this is Linux,
I wonder if Adobe has tweeted out anything about this or just ignored it. Because you know they've seen this. You know they've seen one of the biggest YouTubers on the platform who's been on there for like 20 years crap all over Adobe and say use all of the open source stuff and Adobe's garbage and they charge me for this, they charge me for that. You know they've seen it. I wonder if they've addressed it.
Linux, open source, you can do whatever you want. I downloaded this icon pack that changed the icons so they look like the Photoshop icons. That helped a little bit. Then I downloaded a shortcut command list that matches the one on Photoshop. Boom.
Oh, that's nice. I would have to go through and figure out how to change those, but obviously you can in order, like, because I have custom ones.
Made it a little easier. You know, I'm still not 100% used to it, but the
You know what's funny is I have custom ones mapped to my mouse. Specifically, one is for the ripple edit. I'm really talking about Premiere here because I'm in there the most. Photoshop, I'm in there. Well, every time I make a video, I make a thumbnail or two, but I'm not in there as long as Premiere. And Premiere, I literally have, so ripple delete in one, and because I have cutting tool right here on my keyboard, ripple delete over here. But on the other, I have the save button. Because after every single cut that I make, ripple delete that I make, I save it because I've had Adobe crash so many times in the past 8 years losing my work that I'm like, I have to map it and save it after every single thing that I do, which is good practice, I guess, but something that really I shouldn't need to do.
The fact that I can do stuff like this really helps. For me, personally, a worthy sacrifice. I hope this doesn't sound like copium, but genuinely, it feels good that I was able to move on. At the end of the day, some tools are only gonna work on Windows and only gonna work on Mac, but what you gain on Linux is so much more. Freedom. Join us. I'm just praying that Adobe
so
is
applicable
just
to my intro.
show up one day and be like, there's another fee. I'll meet them in a dark alleyway. They'll be like, there's a little fee. Now that I've convinced you.
That's like what California does when you move out of the state. They hit you like 5 years later. Hey, you made money here. You wanna pay us? And then you left. You want to pay us money, even though you haven't lived here for the past 5 years? We're gonna sue you if not. California does
swap
that.
to Linux, you have the wonderful choice of picking a distro.
Ooh, Arch Linux. Oh, no NixOS. Sorry,
Yay,
guys.
so many of them. I hear people going like, I don't know which one to pick. What do I do? There's so many. Just pick one.
Just watch this video. The best Linux distro for you. If you're a beginner, if you want something super Windows-like, if you want something super raw, which, like he was talking about, bloat is bad on Windows. If you want something super raw, go with Arch or go with NixOS. And, well, I didn't know about NixOS 4 years ago, so I didn't talk about it, but Arch Linux, Pop OS, Linux Mint. I talked about a bunch of those things in this video. Not to really, I'm self-plugging a lot of my videos, I understand, but that's just to avoid regurgitating everything I've already said in this video.
It's a wonderful thing that you can choose. Don't you understand? The world is your flavor. Look at all these spices. I
wonder, do you think he talks to his editor in between takes? He's like, okay, when I go like this, I'm going to need you to add the Linux stuff there and then maybe make it sparkle. Add all the distros, make them sparkle, or he just does it and his editor knows. Or is he his editor? Well, he didn't say that he uses Premiere.
Because it's the same one that I installed 15 years ago, and I knew that it was beginner friendly, and that it
He
still
did use
holds
Linux
up.
Mint.
It very much feels like
I bet you use
Windows, just better, okay? You don't even need to touch the scary terminal if you don't want to.
It is. Is this? I don't know if this is his. It's blocked out, so it's probably not. But this person's using Cinnamon right here. Cinnamon, Linux Mint. What did he just say? It's just like Windows.
You don't have to. It's okay. You should though. Now, let's jump into my computer really quick. Ooh. Oh, look at that. I'm recording with OBS. Open source is always the best source.
Oh, look at that. I'm recording with OBS. Open source. It's always the best source. OBS is freaking amazing.
All right, so this is the terminal. You probably heard about it in Linux.
Did you see that? Cinnamon. He did use Cinnamon.
All right. So
yeah, Cinnamon right here. Mutter Muffin. This is basically the same thing as that other, but it's not the same because I noticed the GPU is different and things of that nature. Apollo.
So this is the terminal. You probably heard about it in Linux.
It's like his name.
It's a bit strange at the beginning. Let me just show you how it works. But first, wait.
Did he just...
Yes, today's sponsor?
Is he using a bash script? How does Felix, not a tech guy, know enough to even consider getting a bash script made for the G Fuel sponsor up here? I mean, I'd assume that he used AI to help him write the bash script, but to know enough to actually know to write a bash script, he's a full tech guy now.
2, 1. Wrong! G Fuel! Wow, look at ASCII art.
I guess.
I love it. Beautiful PewDiePie tub. Free PewDiePie shaker cup, which is an amazing deal. If you order $50 or more, highly recommend.
Get it.
It's a great deal. This is probably the best deal you're ever gonna get with G Fuel. Please take advantage.
Creator.
I genuinely mean that.
.gfuel.com/PewDiePie. Go there. Use PewDiePie at checkout probably, and
you get the booty shaker
get a free shaker
and 33.
What did he call it?
Please take advantage. I genuinely mean that. You get the booty shaker
Booty shaker?
free and 33% off all PewDiePie
33%
products
off.
if you use the code PewDiePie. This is your final chance.
What if they did the 33% off so that when you buy something, it brings it below $50, so then you can't get the free shaker, but you want the free shaker, so then you have to buy something else, and that's 33% off, so it puts you above $50 so you can get the free shaker, but then you buy more.
Only get this deal for 7 days, so take the chance
Tinfoil
now.
hat
Don't
off.
wait, please.
Ooh, 5 days now.
Thank you. Go to gfuel.com/PewDiePie. Enter code PewDiePie, 33% off. Thank you, G Fuel, for sponsoring this video. Okay,
Thank
so
you, G Fuel, for sponsoring his video.
this is my desktop. I called it Apollo, and then I have my laptop, which I called Dionysus, because I wanted to mess around with it. Dionysus is the one I really went hard on the rising. But I just wanted to show some terminal commands really quick.
Does he know about dot files, or is it a completely different operating system and he just wants to play around without messing up his general workflow? Maybe that's probably what he does. He probably knows about dot files. If he knows about bash script, he probably knows about dot files. That has nothing to do with each other, but I feel like that's kind of in the same knowledge level because he could have the same operating system on
just
both.
so you get an idea how it works. I talked about this in my last video, but the first thing that really blew my mind with Linux, I just noticed my computer was booting kind of slowly. So I found this command called system deanalyze, and it tells you exactly how long it takes for your computer to actually load and what part takes.
How long does it take? In 10 seconds plus 5 seconds plus 3 seconds plus 3 seconds, 22 seconds. That feels kind of long.
A certain amount of time, and it used to be like 45 seconds. I was like, dude, this is terrible. So then I found another
45 is very long. Goodness gracious, what does he have? He has great RAM. He has great GPU. Yeah, that shouldn't be taking that long. It shouldn't even be taking 22 seconds.
Man called blame, and then you can see exactly what part is kind of slowing down your system, which got me into like really optimizing it, and I had so much fun doing that. And it just made me realize, just like on Windows, if my computer is kind of slow, you just kind of deal with it. It's like, oh, okay.
Because like all you can really do is go into your startup section to see what apps start on startup and just deactivate all of those, because a lot of, I mean, if you game, you have Steam, you have Battle.net, you have there's another one that I'm thinking of that I can't, you have the Fortnite one, you have all of the, a lot of those pop up and start updating the games automatically if you have all of that automatically. And those are just gaming things. There's a lot of other tools as well that'll start on startup that you don't need, a lot of applications that you don't need and just run in the background. Make sure you shut all of those off if you're having trouble on Windows.
Well, what can you do? On Linux, it's like, The world is your oyster. You can fix it.
Do anything.
Personally, I like that kind of stuff. The second thing that blew my mind with the Linux terminal was
it's just like you do need more time at the beginning. That's the only issue.
just how fast it is at searching. Searching on Windows.
But I guess that's with anything. Sorry, I keep pausing it, I know. But I guess that's with anything. It's just once you're in the flow of something else, it's hard to go back to square one to get back to where you are now. Like, if you're already used to Windows, you're used to Mac OS, you have to go back to square one with whatever Linux distro you have and then build yourself back up just to get back to where you are in terms of proficiency with your current operating system or your current video editing software or your current IDE or your current photo editing GIMP versus Photoshop.
Windows is so annoying. It takes forever. Sometimes it doesn't even find the file, even though you type the name of it perfectly. And a lot of times they just bing it. They're like, "Oh, you want to search for your file? Oh, maybe no. Actually, you want to look it online. That's what you want to do." It's like, no. Linux.
No, this I'm so glad he said this. This right here should work similar, if not the same, as this right here. So like if I want to search for a file, boom, it should work like this. This takes freaking forever, just to be very clear. But this is like, we want to search our computer. We don't want to search the web.
You can find any file, whatever you want. This is searching all JPEGs on my computer. That's a bad example, actually. The other thing that I love about it is that you don't have to just search the file. You can also search text inside the file. So let's say you forgot what the file is called, but you remember roughly some stuff inside it. You can grep it, and bada bing, bada boom. What the hell is this?
Balls.
Spotify password text.
Cache
Balls
Spotify.
deep. I did not do that. What? Searching file.
That looks like a brute force type thing that I would download because I forgot a password of some folder or file that I encrypted. But this ZXCVBN, if I'm not mistaken, this is for Spotify. It's cached, right? This is to say like, hey, these are crappy passwords, I think. It's a list of commonly used passwords. Yeah, password strength estimator library. Yeah. So that's what it is. It's just Spotify saying, hey, don't use these for your password.
Balls deep. I did not do that. What?
Or maybe he did it. You never know.
Searching files on Linux is super fast. It made me realize just how it should be on a computer again.
Fast.
The most obvious thing with the terminal is that, let's say you install the operating system and you need to also put all the programs that you want to use on it. Usually you have to go on the browser, Google it, look up their page, go to the download page, dodge all the fake ads and all that crap, and do that and install.
Yeah, hope whatever you're downloading isn't malware because it's something slightly niche and it's not on the Microsoft Store.
And run each one, wait for it to install, yada yada. It takes forever.
Yeah, you have to go through and click install and this path and this and that and da-da-da-da, and you just have to go da-da-da-da-da, and then all the way at the end you're like, no, I don't want to create a desktop shortcut for this, and then hopefully it'll all work.
On Linux, you just go sudo apt install, what do we want?
Look at this
we want
guy.
VLC, Firefox, OBS Studio, boom.
I'm also glad that he knows that you don't have to sudo apt install each and everything individually. When I first started off, I didn't realize you could just say VLC and Firefox and OBS Studio and all of these other things in one command and it'll just roll with it. I would do like sudo apt install VLC, enter, password, download. Okay, sudo apt install Firefox, enter, and just go through each and every one individually. It was horrible.
Thank you. And now I can sit and look at the screen and feel like I'm a hacker. Yes, I know what all of this means.
So that's why half of y'all
Every
use
single
Linux.
letter I'm soaking in with my brain. There's so much you can do with the terminal. It's
That's why we all use Linux, just to feel like a hacker.
insanely powerful. I can make a whole video about it, but I don't want to keep this too long-winded. And in reality, I just want to show you my Rice on my laptop, to be honest. That's the whole reason I'm making this video. I had this old
Rice,
laptop. I mean, it's not that old,
I thought he said his Ryzen on his laptop. I'm like, what does that have to do with this
but I
video?
just never used it.
He is using a Ryzen. Isn't that what that says? Yeah, it is.
Because I didn't really like using it. I mentioned before there's many distros of Linux, and I wanted to try one called Arch. Partially because of the meme. It's kind of become a meme because it's a little difficult to install Arch.
I use
It's
Arch,
like a
by the way.
flex to use it. For some reason, I went on a God run and I had
If you just have a list of instructions, just follow them and it's easy.
no issue. I always get stuck on the dumbest ever for like 12 hours. I don't know what happened that time. But I also wanted to download Arch because it's a minimal.
I also feel like I have very bad luck when it comes to like the simplest things. Like I feel like some things that are more complex and difficult, it's kind of easy, but then like something super simple, I can't get it and I just feel so dumb.
Minimalist distro, whatever you put, or at least 90% of it is there because you decided to put it there. And it's also very highly customizable, which are two elements that I love, so I knew I was gonna love it. All right, let's go.
Highly customizable, but also you do have to do every single thing. There's nothing out of the box with Arch or with NixOS. Well, unless you pick a specific flavor. Like if you want it raw from the ground up, Arch, you have to install everything. If you want a launcher, if you want to be able to, you know, hit Command Space and it opens up that search bar for you to be able to open up a application launcher, not a search bar, something like Rofi, and you want to open up Firefox, you have to add that. Otherwise, you have to go in the terminal and you have to open it up via the terminal.
I think it makes sense for me to show it without any customization first because it just be confusing and I need to talk to people that haven't used Linux. First favorite thing, which I have on Mint as well, is just shortcuts on my keyboard to open programs, open terminal, open file manager, open browser, close.
He's going to be diving into Vim motions very soon if he loves these commands and opening everything up with these commands. I mean, if you could just do everything on the keyboard, it's awesome. Again, it's just like you have to start from scratch and everything, and you forget something, and you're like, crap. I'm going to have to waste 2 minutes in order to figure out what command I need to actually do in order to copy and paste this thing, or whatever it may be. He is using Hyperland though. That's what I used on NixOS. He's using it on Arch, Papyrus, Alacrity. I'm also using that. Dang, and that laptop has an RTX 3070.
Close it, whatever, it's all there. It's such a nice workflow and have a more keyboard-centric way of using your computer, especially on a laptop. But even in general, the whole like, okay, let me click on the start menu and just find the thing. If I don't have it
to be fair, you can just hit the Windows key and then start typing, but it is slow, and sometimes I'll type something, and I will even type it all the way out, and it still doesn't show. Like this literally will happen with Photoshop, which is something that I open at least once a week, more like 3-4 times a week, and it won't even show. Or like I type in photo and it wants to open photos. It's like I open Photoshop 5 times a week. I've never opened photos in my entire life, and you want to open that before Photoshop? Like, can you learn a little bit here? Also, this does explain why he has, he didn't transfer his files from his laptop over to his desktop, because they're 2 different operating systems, and he wants to have both, I guess.
Keybind, I can open Rofi. And just search for it and open it. I don't want to over-explain things as well, but yeah, this is my terminal on this setup. I'm using Alacrity, and this is NeoFetch, which shows my specs. And usually people have an ASCII art.
Which I was supposed to rebuild in Rust, but I got distracted with other projects and never did it.
Sounds like I'm saying ASCII. ASCII, I'll call it ASCII.
Isn't it pronounced ASCII?
Of their distro. And if you saw my Mint one earlier, I was like, oh, it wouldn't be cool if I do like my own custom ASCII. And then I thought, oh, it wouldn't be cool if I do my own animated ASCII. So I figured out how to do that.
I need to figure this out. ASCII pronounce.
ASCII.
Yeah, I wonder if it means something in Swedish, and that's why he doesn't want to say it.
It took a little bit of tinkering and schminkering, but it's just so nice to look at. I love it. So I'm running Hyperland, which is this beautiful tile manager. It automatically sorts it for me whenever I open something. This is such a nice workflow, and I can close it all as well. You can literally open these until infinite.
So
when you're on a laptop, when you have limited screen space, it's such a great way to work with it. The fact that they're always there means I never have to look for them, because I...
And then the best thing is having the separate workspaces, so you can have different... Like, you can have everything you need open right here, but if you want to transfer over, like say you have coding over here, then you have like you're editing a video over here, you can have different workspaces, so you don't have to close all this down and then open it up, and it just works so nice on this.
And if my workspace is full, I can look at this. Swap to another one. This is workspace number 2. And
okay, so apparently Windows and Mac has this too. Does Windows have this? Does Windows 10 have this? Because I don't have 11. If it does, then I'm learning something new here. I knew Mac had it, but Linux is still miles ahead with tiling managers and scripting. One thing, how the heck did he get Firefox?
I never have to look for them because I know they're there. And if my workspace is full, I can look at this.
I've never had Firefox open that fast.
And go back and forth vice versa instantly. I love this way of using a computer. It's so sick. The first thing I really loved about...
It just makes so much sense that obviously it's easy to look at it in hindsight, but it's like, why was it? It's one of those things where it's like, why weren't all operating systems built like this from the get-go?
This Arch Hyperland setup was just how quick and smooth it
especially for laptops.
looks, at least, you know, like boom, oh, open, it's so nice. But then I open my browser and it's like, oh, you see that? Ew.
Yes.
Again.
Exactly.
Oh,
Why does it take us so long now, though? It just opened up really,
and it
really
loads so
quickly.
ugly. So my first thought, okay, well, maybe I can upgrade my SSD to make it snappier and quicker. But then I thought, I'm on Linux.
don't need
I can
that.
do whatever I want. So let's run a time here, Firefox. Let's ignore the CSS errors. I tinkered a bit too much. Don't worry about it.
He even knows about CSS errors. This is great.
What was that? 2 seconds. Huh?
And hold on, I just went over the fact that he just did time Firefox.
Errors. I tinkered a bit too
Clean.
much. Don't worry about it. What was that? 2 seconds. Huh? Not good enough. So I figured out a
feels
way, and
so
it's
slow.
so dumb. I won't explain how I did it, but the fact that I was able to do it, boom, instant. Boom, 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 boom! Anyway, the first thing I customized was Waybar. Oh, I forgot to say I can move around
Waybar's
as well
nice.
if I want to.
Hyperbar does look really cool too. Or is it called Hyperbar? I think it's called Hyperbar. But I don't know. It's just it's made in TypeScript, and I don't know if I want it. You know, it may be a little bit slower.
Anyway, and move them to a different workspace. So yeah, this is my taskbar. It's like the Windows taskbar, except you decide exactly what's on it and customizing
And where
it.
it
I put
goes.
calendar,
Yeah.
turn it on and off. Basically, it just tells me if I'm
Yeah.
connected to NordVPN or not, and I can toggle by clicking
He'll come around to one of these open source VPN
On it.
services, unless. Just kidding. No, he won't.
three
Whatever.
bar, which is ASCII. I keep saying ASCII, which is ASCII art.
That's what it's
I got the
called.
volume, and you know, look, if my volume goes too low, it gets red. It's critical.
Critical. Those are the fun things about Linux. You can do these
UI.
things.
To me, it's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Finally, to make it sort of all work together, I added a script that basically scans if I'm using a window. So if I open or close, it sort of transitions in and out of Waybar because I don't need it on both. That's just like too much information in my opinion. So this is on my
Interesting. Yeah, because if you have all this information, you don't need all that information. So when you're in a different, it's just a different workspace.
desktop.
Wow.
It's just a nice vibe here. We just chill over here, and then when I'm in workflow,
he's
it
into
blackens it all out. And I
brings
can
the
just get
Waybar back.
going on my schwingy thingy.
So he has ChatGPT, but what is it right next to ChatGPT? Cargo. Rust. I don't know if this was a necessary thing. Yeah, this must have just been a necessary thing for what he's installed on here. This is for Firefox npm. Oh my zish. That's what I like to call it. Don't judge me. VS Code. Open source software. See, dot files right here. Whoop. Just take these and throw them to your other computer after you install Arch on it. Ugh, I love this stuff. This really makes me just want to delete Windows.
Going on my schwingy thingy. Arch. None of my F keys worked. Actually, sorry, 3 out
least
of
they all
12
didn't work.
worked out of the box.
Oh, that's the issue. Is if they all didn't work, okay, maybe you can like locate the issue pretty easily. If only a couple of them worked, then that's a whole different type of issue where you're like, why do only 3 work and none of the rest? That's
so
an
I
issue.
had spent a long time bringing them back to life.
Do the F keys though? Do they have like the FN function, and that's how you use F2, F3, F4? But then they also have another usage. It looks like it for brightness. You know, increasing brightness, decreasing brightness, increasing volume, decreasing volume. If you can map all of those, with Linux, you do have to map all of those.
Out of the box. So I had spent a long time bringing them back to life. For me, it was kind of fun. I was like, oh, got another one working. Like, okay, let's move on to the next one. But I can imagine for a lot of people that just want things to work, you know, maybe this is not for you. And maybe it should work,
Yeah.
you know? I think since Linux is not as popular.
But he also did Arch on his laptop. I assume he never had Mint on his laptop, which if you have something like Mint or Ubuntu or something like that, they probably would have worked out of the box. But if you're going full customization, you need to expect for things to not work and expect and a joy to fix the things that don't
popular
work.
on desktop
Because nothing's out of the box, really.
as Windows or Mac. This is just the reality. There's just not enough support for it. On Linux, if something doesn't work, it's kind of up to you to fix it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's
Or
just
it's
how
your
it
fault.
is. I was trying to update my drivers for my GPU.
But that's the good thing about it. It's up to you, which, okay, that's more responsibility on you, but you'd rather be able to do something about it than have to sit on your hands and hope that Microsoft does something about it.
And I got a black screen 6 times and I had to do a hard restore every time. It's, you know, not the most fun thing in the world. There are
You're a
other
pro
things
now,
I
though.
could rather be doing, which is why I need you to install Linux, so the more people we can get together, the better Linux becomes.
That's why a lot of people don't use Linux, is because there's other things we'd rather be doing. And I say we because I use Windows a lot more than I use the Linux, just because sometimes I just can't bother. And I have Windows on another PC or dual booted, or I'm running it Linux via VM, so it's on Windows already. I always have a Windows computer or operating system somewhere in my vicinity, so I'm able to access it if something ever happens with Linux, or if I need to use, you know, my Adobe products or what have you. And it's just so much easier to be able to kind of, oh, that's not working, let me go back over to Windows, because I know Windows and it is working right now, and I'll fix that later. And then sometimes I just never fix it.
And I get it now. Like, that's why people were so excited about me using Linux, because Linux is not a product, it's a platform. NASA, SpaceX, it runs on
servers. It runs like 96% of the top 1 million servers. It powers 80 some odd percent of all mobile phones via Android. And yeah, it's
Linux.
everywhere.
All the supercomputers, your TV, your smart fridge, your
Yep, because every single TV manufacturer decided they wanted their own operating system. I wish they would just do something a little bit more like phones, where you have like a standard like Android. Maybe they do, but some of them are complete garbage. But they have Android, and then you add your flavor on top of it, instead of trying to make your entire new, clean Linux-based operating system for your TV, because you have zero processing power in it. So if you install 3 applications on it, it's never going to work properly. TVs have an issue.
phone, if it's Android, it's all Linux,
Yep.
baby.
It always has been.
I think it's just so cool, the fact that this all happened because one Finnish guy in like the 90s just decided, hey, I can write a better kernel.
This is a big step for a Swedish guy to compliment a Finnish guy.
Finnish naivety, typical Finnish behavior. They think they can do anything. But without that, you know, things would have
So there's a little bit of a give and a take, you know. Oh, here's a compliment, now here's a jab.
been very different. At least there wouldn't be an alternative. And I just think it's so cool that people saw what it did, got excited,
Yep.
and wanted to join in. So
Yeah.
please consider joining in. Now, if you
Wait,
even
did
just
he also referred to it as a Linux kernel? Are there any comments down here that say anything about well, I'd like to interject for a moment. What you're referring to as Linux, Linux is actually GNU/Linux. Nobody in the top however many replies? That's kind of insane. Everything over here is just Magnus Mitvo.
a little bit curious, I recommend trying Linux. Maybe try dual booting it if you're not sure. You can still keep your Windows or whatever.
Yes,
You're gonna
but it is easier to default to the thing that you're used to. So jumping ship is the best if you want to really dive into Linux and not have any alternative. Where if you have dual boot, you're kind of like, you know, teetering on one or the other, just like I was just talking about. But if you really need to get work done, it's nice to have a backup window, so you can kind of, oh, I'm in crunch time, I'm facing an issue with Linux, or I'm just not used to it yet. Let me hop over to Windows for this day or two to finish this project, then I'll hop back over to Linux. That's always a nice thing to be able to do.
kill it later. You might as well kill it now. Test it out. Break it. Get upset.
You will break it. You
On
will
Linux,
get upset.
I feel alive at last, at long last. Thank you for
course.
watching.
When you're on the precipice of destroying everything in your operating system, that's when you're really alive.
Let me just type out my goodbyes.
Does he have another script? No, no, don't do it.
No.
That was a sketchy thing to type in, especially if he had sudo. I saw that he had to add the password before, but sometimes you could bypass needing to add the password every single time. And he could have very easily accidentally hit enter instead of backspace there, and that would have been not good. Nice. Nice sound too. Well, so there it is. I mean, we just discussed how Linux is already winning servers and phones and things of that nature. And look, PewDiePie has installed Linux, convinced you to install Linux now that you're going to do this after watching this video, or already have done it after watching his video. Linux has officially won. Desktop race is over. Mac OS, Windows, hate to break it to you, there's a new king in town. I know how much y'all love me saying that things have won, because y'all were really upset when I said OpenAI had won. And I was just joking. I was just saying they're trying to win over developers. They won developers because they're actually open sourcing things, and they actually made models that are kind of in line with the other models on the market, whereas before they were complete garbage. Now they're just less garbage. Anyway, this is a new video. Let me know what you think about it. This is just me yapping and yapping and yapping. But oh yeah, watch my last video. Why you never finish your programming projects, and instead you decide to watch this hour-long video of me yapping about PewDiePie yapping about Linux. Go install Linux and finish your programming project. Goodbye.